Right, so this is the little parts washer. I've just got half water and half of water-based degreaser in there. Not sure whether it's quite the right stuff. I think it's more for degreasing floors and cookers and stuff. But I spent 10 minutes on that. Look, and how good is that starting to come up? So all I've been using to clean it is a household scourer. You can get these out of any place, Poundland, Wilkinson's, any old place like that. This little set of brushes, there's 3 of them in there. There's a nylon one, there, a coppery brassy one, and a stainless steel one there. They were about, I don't know, about £3 from Screwfix. Been using them to get in there. Yeah, and it's come up quite well. But the interesting thing is, you can see, you can catch that on camera, if I can get up a little bit closer without knocking my camera over. In there, there's no sealer down there. But in that side there is. So this sealer in here, and there's more here, you can see where the sealer is and where the sealer isn't. So I'm pretty sure that these baffles rattling were the cause of our problems. So I'm going to turn the camera off now and clean all this up, and I'll come back to you when it's all spick and span. Right, so off camera, I've been at this about an hour now with the Winds air intake and carburetor cleaner. As you can see, that bit has come up really nicely. I've still left it soaking in there. Get a few stubborn stains off. You can see all the grooves now are fairly clear. Got all that sealant off, and I can confirm that carburetor cleaner does dissolve, or not dissolve, but soften the sealant that's been used to stick these manifolds, these baffles in to the manifold. So I've been struggling to get this one out. As we saw earlier, this one was quite tight, indicating that it was glued in well, but I thought while it's apart, it might be worth trying to get that out. Probably a decision I'll live to regret, but what I've done is I've given it a good soaking carburetor cleaner, and with the hope that's going to soften the adhesive. The guy I read about online did give us all the tip of soaking or pouring boiling water over the outside of the manifold to make it expand quicker than the baffles inside, and he managed to get them out by levering on those points that I pointed out earlier. So I'm going to leave that soaking overnight. Time for a cup of tea now, I think, and we'll come back to it another day and see if we can get those manifolds out. But just to say, I'm quite pleased that those came out really easily. Okay, so it's another day now. Actually, it's 2 days in advance since we last came out and had a look at this manifold. Now, if you remember, we were trying to get this piece of the manifold, or this piece of the baffle, these baffles, out of the manifold. So I left it soaking for the last couple of days in the good old carb cleaner. Still wouldn't shift, although by levering gently I could see a little bit of movement in it. Now the guy I saw on one of the forums who had done a nice write-up on how to get this part said he poured boiling hot water over the outside casing of the manifold. So I've just been in and done that. Didn't think you'd want to watch that on video, and sure enough, I've managed, with a little bit of leverage in here and here, I've managed to get the inner manifold out. Now I'm taking a good look at the sealant on here. You can see sealant around that little hole there, sealant around that edge, sealant on those inner edges there, and then if we look inside the manifold itself, there is sealant here and here, and I think down there and there as well. So we'll need to get this really clean and apply some new sealant. I have actually got the sealant now, and the other day I think I said my bits for the car were at Argos. Well, the reason they were at Argos is I used the click and collect facility on eBay, and it was just easier for me to collect it rather than having it left outside my front door and possibly getting stolen, or not even being left at all, being taken back to a depot somewhere miles away. So I didn't actually buy the parts from Argos. They don't sell Vauxhall Astra cam covers and gaskets. So they were bought from eBay. I'll probably put some links up as to where I got those from, and I just collected them from there. So anyway, I'm going to go off camera again now and get this all cleaned up, and we'll come back to you when it's all clean and ready to reassemble. Right, there we go. All the component parts nice and clean. It's probably taken me, I don't know, an hour. I've done them with carb cleaner and then rinsed them off in the parts washer with some degreaser. And I've sort of dried them off. I'm going to let them dry overnight. I'm not going to bother trying to see them now. If we get in some close-ups, you can see these surfaces here. I've got them pretty clean. This is where the sealant needs to be applied. And in here. And in here, obviously, and the same on this bit. Got the grooves there, and these parts here, locating those grooves. So as I say, what I'm going to do now is let them dry off overnight. It'll probably be a couple of days now actually before I get back on it. And then what we'll do is probably give it a wipe over, give these surfaces just a wipe over with some cellulose thinners or something, just to get the last of the grease off. And also in the grooves as well, and then we'll reassemble it, and then hopefully we can get it back on the car, and get the rocker cover on with the new breather system in, and fire it up, and hopefully all our troubles will be gone. Right, so today moved into the kitchen to try and sew these baffles in. And the reason I'm in the kitchen is trying to get the baffles into here. I noticed it was quite a tight fit, and if you remember in previous videos, they were quite difficult to get out. We ended up heating this outside piece up here with some boiling water to expand it, and the baffle slipped out quite easily. Now I've tried dry fitting them here without any sealant, and they're quite a tight fit. So what I've decided to do is I put the baffles themselves in the freezer for about, I don't know, 15-20 minutes, maybe up to half an hour. They've been in there now, and hopefully that will shrink them a small amount. And then this bit I'm going to put in the oven just for about, I don't know, 10 minutes, just to warm it up. You don't want to get it really hot because obviously you've got to handle it, but just enough to expand it a little bit, and hopefully that the baffles will then slide in here quite nice and easily. With the sealant obviously helping to lubricate it. So we'll stick this in the oven and be right back. And just a quick thing before we actually put these in the oven, I'm going to use some acetone here, just to degrease the channels in here where the parts are going to fit, where the baffles are going to fit, just to make sure we've got no grease or cleaning fluid or anything left in there. Just to ensure we get a really good adhesion with the sealer. So that's just giving that a quick wipe out. We'll probably do around the edges here a bit more when we come to make the two halves together again, but just give them a quick wipe round. Now the sealant that I'm actually using is this Loctite 5920. It's a copper-based gasket maker sealant, and it's supposed to be up to temperatures of 350 degrees, which should be fine for an inlet manifold. And it's got a very high resistance to oil and grease and petrol. So this is what the guy that I've seen do this before recommended. So we'll give it a go. Okay, so while the other one's warming up in the oven, I'm just going to have a look at the bottom half of the baffles. This is the bottom half bit, these are the baffles here. Now as you can see, these are quite a loose fit. The others are quite tight to get in, but this is quite a loose fit. And also you notice how they rock a little bit. That's the cause of our chattering sound, our tappet rattling sound. So I'm going to have a go at sealing these, I think, now, because they look the easiest ones to do. Now obviously we've got to apply sealant down these channels here and here, and I also noticed when I cleaned them up, I took quite a lot of note of where the sealant was. There was some fairly hefty blobs on top of these flat casting pieces here, and if you look on the underneath of there, there's two little blobs there, and I think that's what it's rocking on. So I think what we need to do is apply quite a big blob of sealant there and make sure we get quite a bit in here as well. So I'm just going to do one more dry fit, just see where the actual contact areas are. So it is basically right up to that edge there, not quite to the ends of these here. And literally right up to the edge of the outlet ports there. So there's that surface there. So I think we'll put some right up to here. So what we'll do is just give that a quick wipe down with the acetone as well, both halves. As you can see, despite giving that a really good clean in the degreaser and with the carburetor cleaner, there's still quite a lot of residue coming off there. So and obviously we need to do the other half of the baffles as well, rather the baffles themselves. Those edges. I guess you could use white spirit or any sort of spirit that evaporates. Probably methylated spirit would do this as well, but I'm just using acetone because I happen to have some indoors and it saves me going outside at the garage. It's a nice sunny morning, but it is a bit chilly out there today. It's quite early, so I've also just noticed this is a good opportunity to check whether there's any sealer left in here, and I've noticed there's a little piece of sealer in there still, and I think I saw another bit somewhere else. Maybe that's come off, but there's a little bit just in there. Got that off of my thumbnail, so that's fine. So now for the big bit, to actually put some sealer on here without making too much mess. Now I just want to make 100% certain that I know where this is going, so I'm just going to, it's a bit like when you're doing carpentry. I always say measure twice, cut once, because once you've done this, it's done, and you've got to go through the whole tearing it out and cleaning it up process again, which I really don't want to do. So I'm quite confident that the contact edges are along here, here and here, and obviously in these baffles. So I'm going to apply the sealer. It comes with this handy key. This is where I'm probably going to make a right mess, but nice handy key there to squeeze it out. So we'll see how it goes. Just bear in mind as well, when you're using this sealant, you've got about 15 minutes working time, because it starts to cure in about 15 minutes. Just wait. Oh, there's some sealant. Right, I'm going to start here at this edge and just try and run a nice bead all the way up to there. Now I actually bought this sealant off of good old eBay, and then found that it's actually cheaper at my local Halfords. I thought it'd be something special that I wouldn't be able to get. And it's not. I do it in Halfords. I think I paid about £9 off of eBay, and I think it was about £6 in Halfords. a bit messy. I haven't got a steady hand, but I guess as long as I don't overdo it, having a little bit more on there rather than a little bit too less is better. But obviously we don't want any bits breaking off and ending up in the engine. Don't know whether that'll do it a lot of good. About a third of that there. So just get the screws and the ratchet for that. Just want to try and get that in as square as possible. I'm just going to check around that I've got enough sealant on. I think I have. So I'm just going to get that as square as I can and drop that in. Just concerns me that I might not have put enough seal on in places, but I'm not taking it out again because it'd mean cleaning it off and starting from scratch, so we'll see how it goes. Put the screws in to hold it in place. Like I say, this isn't something that Vauxhall sell a repair kit or anything for, so there aren't any actual torque wrench settings for this. So I'm just going to do these up tightish. Obviously you're screwing into aluminium here, so you don't want to go too ridiculous with it. So as you can see, there's quite a bit of sealer oozed out in there, which is good in one respect. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but that means we've put plenty in there if it's oozed out. So I'm going to try and wipe the excess off if I can. Okay, that probably wasn't such a good idea. Let's get a pair of pliers, pull that piece of paper out. But you get the idea. Clean the excess off. I'll do that off camera now, and we'll get back to you in due course. So bottom half's all cleaned up. Got the top half here. Just taking this out of the oven, and it's actually very hot. A bit too hot to touch at the minute, so I'm going to let that cool down. This one's come out the freezer, so it's condensating a little bit. I'm going to leave those a few minutes just to just to equalise a little bit. But what I'm hoping is this one is going to drop straight into here a lot easier. Now I can't really pick this up because it's so hot at the minute, but if you look in, ow, very hot. If you look in there, you can see that we've got a lot of sealing to do in here. There's a lot more grooves in here. There's especially this round this ring here, and I've just remembered there's also a little rubber bung that comes out of that hole that I lost, but then found again, which was really good. So I'm just going to go and pick that up while these cool down a little bit. Didn't realise that'd get quite so hot in the oven. Maybe should have only left it 10 minutes instead of 20, but so this is the little bung that I lost, and that sits in there in that hole at the bottom. Now I won't put it in just yet because obviously it's a bit hot, it might melt, and also this little pipe here fits into that. So, and then there's a little vacuum pipe goes in the end of there, off the engine somewhere. Not too sure what that is, we'll investigate that when we put it back. But yeah, I'm just going to let those equalise a little bit. In fact, while it's doing that, I'm just going to have a little look inside here and just see. Actually, it might not be too bad with that sealant. It might be easier than the other one. Slightly bigger areas. So that's going to drop in that way up like that. So again, we've got these areas here. Guess we've got to be a little bit careful. If you look on there, don't know what those holes are there. There's a little bit of sealant still stuck on there. Don't know what those little inlets are there because there's nothing in here. So whether they should be sealed, I don't want to get them too bunged up with stuff. But yeah, I don't think it'll be too bad actually. I think it's literally round there, same the other side, a little bit more attention round the top of there. There was a lot of sealant around that outlet there. Don't think there's any round here because this little rubber thing goes in there and seals that. So it literally is just round there and round those two. Ah, yeah, and on the inner surfaces there and there. Now with this one, I think what's going to happen is once we get that back together, we're not actually going to be able to clean any of that mess off of there, are we? Because that is all sealed inside there. So we're not going to be able to get to any of that to clean it. So we'll just have to stay as it is. Have to be a little bit more careful with the sealant on there. But as I say, I'm just going to let those this one especially cool down a little bit. Whoops, because I have heated it up a little bit too much in the oven. It's still not quite bearable. So yeah, we'll do that, and we'll be right back, and we'll seal this one up. Well, it's not the prettiest, but I think it's going to be okay. Just put a tad more down in this groove here, I think, because it's there's no condensation on there again, so let's drop this in, try and get it the right way round first time, which is that way round. I used to get blobs of this stuff everywhere. quick. Put that little rubber piece on there instead, I think, because it's already going horribly wrong at the minute. Right, I think that's as good as it's going to get. We'll put the screws in and that should just nip the whole thing up tight, hopefully. Okay, so there it is. I'll clean all this stuff off that I can get to in here. And maybe a little bit in that edge there, I don't know, looks alright I think. And we'll set that aside to dry probably for the rest of today. And then tomorrow we'll make the two halves back together. We'll have a look at that gasket that was already in here, see what we think of that. If not, we might put a bit of this around here. But yeah, that'll do for now. I'm going to go off camera and clean all this mess up, and I'll catch you later.